The TorbayHour radio show, brought to you by the Babacom Inn Christmas Party Night.
So, good evening. It is 8 o'clock. It is Monday night. We're counting down to Christmas, quite frankly. It's a worrying thing.
We've only got 1 week to go on here.
Wow. Yeah, it is the TorbayHour radio show. Hi, I'm Rick. Martin is in the studio as well. We have our special guest, David Shepherd from the Federation of Small Businesses as well. We'll be talking to him very, very soon. We got all the usual fun, really. We have the 140-second tweets, the account of the week as well. And also, now, this evening, I've been here all day and I've been trying to think about what music we could play. And I really can't come to any conclusions. So I think we should leave it up to the dear listener tonight. So, requests from the acts that we have brought you on the show. So you could be having yourself Sarah Yo, you could be having yourself a Charlotte Ward, you could have a Humanitarian, you could have a Lion Star, a Simitone, pretty much whatever you like. The choice is up to you. Get in touch via Twitter tonight. It's so simple, Martin. The contact details are...
Hashtag TorbayHour. Oh, bit crackly. And at Torbay_hour.
It is that simple. So if you have a question about business that you would like one of our experts, and we're beginning to develop a kind of contact book of experts. So if there's a question you'd like an answer to, then you can get in touch as well. Also, as I say, David Shepherd from the Federation of Small Businesses is in. We'll be talking to him about business in Torbay and Southampton. I think certainly off there we've been talking, David, haven't we, about retail primarily in Torbay.
Indeed, yes.
But we will explore that some more. It just generally, I mean, we've just had Small Business Saturday. Are things looking good for business at the moment? Is there a genuine upturn, a feeling of kind of optimism towards next year?
I think there is, yes. Small Business Saturday was a great success, and long may it continue. It's about the third year, I think, that it's been done nationally. It's one of the more acceptable things that have come across from the United States, unlike Black Friday, which was a bit of a debacle, really, when you look at some of the antics caused by some of the shoppers. But Small Business Saturday is a great fillip, particularly for the rural areas and the market towns of Devon.
I mean, it's. I mean, I guess primarily people always think of retail and doing the Christmas shopping and stuff like that. But is it meant to be far wider spread than just retail? Is it meant to be all kinds of businesses?
I think generally it is retail. These are the sorts of businesses that are affected. But of course, those businesses buy products from manufacturers. So there are other manufacturers, of course, making the goods that are sold in the shops. And of course, we've got probably one of the greatest supplies of food and drink of any region in the United Kingdom. So there are a lot of producers out there on farms and such like around the county who are producing some really quality food and drink, and those are being sold not only in retail shops but our restaurants, our hotels, bars, clubs, all those places, and it is basically celebrating what small businesses are, which are completely different from the supermarket, because in many cases all the products that small businesses sell in their retail outlets, they can tell you where they come from, so there's provenance, etc., etc., and it makes a complete difference. You are buying local.
Brilliant.
You know all the problems we've had with the supermarkets during the year with horse meat and all that sort of stuff. But here you are actually buying a product, and in many cases a Devon product.
Which is what it's all about, and we will explore that in far greater detail in the not too distant. Right, time for one of these.
The featured accounts with the Works Torbay. Flexible, affordable workspace. A new way of working and doing business.
Okay, it's time for our featured account this week, and this week, well, actually, Sav, tell us, what's the actual name of your account?
It's Academy Soccer Camps.
Academy Soccer Camps. Now, I think, even for the uninitiated sports-wise like me, I can guess what you do.
Go on then.
Is it soccer training by any chance?
Yeah, we do soccer training, we do sports development, fun fitness sessions, and we also do coach education.
Oh, okay, right. So what age group is this working for?
Well, we start with the actual academy. It's from 4 up to 14 years old. We do other adult coaching when required. And I'm also an FA tutor, which I do coach education programs for our local FA, which is Devon FA.
I mean, football, it's obviously a phenomenally successful sport globally anyway, but it seems to be enjoying a kind of an upturn, if that's possible, from where it was.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it obviously varies in different parts of the country, what region we're from. But I think with lots of good coaches coming through the FA now, with the new DNA that they put together, we are trying to encourage more fun and multiple inclusion. So, we've got a wide range of soccer courses going on now. Other clubs do disabilities. We cater for everybody and anybody that wants to play, really.
So one of the things which has sort of changed, I think, really over the last 15, 20 years is girls and ladies playing football as well. Yeah,
I mean, we've got... it's still a minority, I must say that, especially in our area. A lot of girls play at school. A lot of girls play in regards to their primary schools where teachers can organise sessions, but out of school it's still relatively quiet. We are putting a lot more ladies through their FA badges, and hopefully they will encourage more girls to play out of school as opposed to in school.
I mean, all sporting events do well on the back of national and international success and competitions and things like that. Now, next year it's the Ladies' World Cup next year, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's in Canada, I believe. So hopefully that will really give it a boost. We are playing quite a lot of ladies football now, and on television it's advertised and publicised. The ladies played at Wembley not so long ago, and they had 50,000 people watching them. So that was the first ever event there for them. So it is definitely taking off, but hopefully in our area we really need to promote it a little bit better, I think.
So where are you actually based? Where do you do your training from?
Okay, we base our academy in South Devon, which is mainly Torbay, Paynton, Torquay, Brixham. We're in local schools doing after-school clubs and some PPA sessions. So we have a lot of contact with the local Bay Area. Myself, I can get involved anywhere across the southwest. I'd get a call from somebody in Cornwall. I'd go there and put on a session. So myself, I'm more mobile, but the actual academy is more Torbay based.
Okay, so are you affiliated with a particular club or a ground at all?
No, well, we're affiliated with the Devon FA in regards to coaching, but no, we will go anywhere we can put a session on. So basically, Paynton College we do a lot of work at, Brixham College we used to do a lot of work at, Torquay we've been in. So basically, it's Torbay area that we do all our sessions.
Okay, so if people want to get involved, could it be something which you could do even as like a soccer party for a kids' party or something like that?
Yeah, we've done hundreds of soccer parties. Yeah, it's all down to demand. We advertise on our website, which is academysoccersportstrust.co.uk. We advertise there anything from a fun day to parties to coaching sessions. Wide spectrum of what we do, and we cater for all needs.
Now, I was just about to say something really stupid. I was just about to say, is this a seasonal thing? But what I mean by that is this something which you do all year round? Yes, we do. It's all year round training. It gets a little bit quieter in the summer, but we do all year round sessions. Our Saturday mornings down at Paynton College, we have about 50 to 60 children that come down there for the morning, and that runs all the way through the year. So are there kind of artificial pitches in this area where you can train as well? Yeah. Paynton College is a 3G, so we can play there any time, any time of the year. Never been called off there. If it rains torrentially and it's really bad weather, we have got the option of going inside the sports hub, which is a really great facility down at Paynton College. So, we won't cancel because we've always got a backup. Fine. So, do you only train the playing side, or if people were interested in being referees or linesmen or linespeople, can you do that as well? No, we don't do that, but we pathway them to the Devon FA, which they do referees courses from 16 years old up. They also do the officiating side of it. So we'll signpost anybody that might need an involvement in football.
So we have the contacts and the pathways to put them in the right direction.
I mean, is that something which is kind of... I mean, everybody wants to be a Premiership footballer and earn 150 grand a week. Well, not everyone, but you know what I mean. But is it harder to find people that want to go into the official side of the game?
To be fair, no. I've got a lad who started with me at 5 years old. One of my coaches, Harry Walden, 17 next Monday. So happy birthday, Harry. He's actually a referee. Now, he started when he was 14. He took some classes at school. He's now 16, and he's refereeing futsal and his youth football. So he's gone into the officiating side of it as opposed to playing side of it. But he's one of our coaches, so he's done his badges as well.
Right.
So you do find young people that want to go that route.
Would you say that they'd need to have a really decent sort of playing understanding of the game if that's what they wanted to follow first?
An understanding, yes. I wouldn't say a great playing ability, because most of the people that go into referees, no disrespect, and are normally the ones that can't play to a highest level, should I say?
Oh,
but
right,
they love the game.
Right.
So, but yeah, Harry was very clever as a kid coming up. He wasn't a bad footballer, but he's opted to go the officiating route, which is a great time to do it, because it gives him a chance that he could end up in the Premiership, because
Fantastic.
This is where you start at a young age.
Brilliant. Okay, Sav, give us your contact details again.
Okay, my contact details is academysoccersportstrust.co.uk. We're Torbay based or South Devon based. We've also got another website which is academysoccerpro.com, should I say. That is our resource website, which allows people to go on and buy a yearly membership for resources including coaching, getting into football, starting up a business, and any other pathway that includes football and officiating.
Fantastic. Sav, thanks for being our account of the week.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.
And happy Christmas. Yeah, you got it in there before me. Have a great time.
Yeah, thank you very much, buddy. Bye-bye.
The featured accounts with the Works Torbay. Flexible, affordable workspace. A new way of working and doing business.
It is the TorbayHour radio show, brought to you by the Babacom Inn and their Christmas party nights. Now, if you want to get in touch, the easiest way is obviously via Twitter, because that's why we're all here. It is the TorbayHour, and what is going on the TorbayHour tonight, Martin?
Right, so we have TLH Hotels. They're joining us for the first time tonight. Welcome. We've also had a couple of requests for songs, so I'll pass those over to you in a moment.
Okay, right.
Nature Save, they're running the competition to win an organic hamper worth 110 quid in time for Christmas, so that can't be a bad retweet.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Hit retweet, enter that would be great. Fleet Hospice, they've got some great courses in January for their hypnotherapy courses.
Right.
So I guess if you're trying to give up smoking or something like that in the new year, it might be worth checking them out.
We should try and get them on and find out more about, because self-hypnosis or hypnosis as in Paul McKenna.
Well,
we need to find out.
Yeah. I'll get them on the show. 3CP Sales, they're offering 3CP training and training for health and social care, industrial and retail. And more important than all of that, good luck, James, for tomorrow. James Twigger is going to be a dad again tomorrow. He's on TorbayHour, he's retweeting, he's chatting and everything else like that. And his wife's in bed, I think, just waiting for tomorrow. So good luck, mate.
Wow, James, good luck. We look forward to meeting the new arrival in the new year, probably. It's coming up to 8:15. It's time now to continue our discussion. Now, David, we kind of dragged you in there, but we didn't properly introduce you. David Shepherd, welcome to the TorbayHour radio show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. You are the regional chairman for the Federation of Small Businesses.
I am, yes.
So does that mean we need to be sort of standing up to attention while you're here?
Absolutely not. No.
Now, we were just saying off air that there's an incredible number of small businesses in the UK. I mean, we're talking millions, aren't we?
We are talking, yes, millions. Something like 14 million small businesses in the United Kingdom, of something like over 3 million are sole traders.
So what does the Federation, for someone who's never really heard of you, other than in kind of press releases talking to business spokesmen, what does the Federation of Small Businesses do?
Very simply, we fight for the right to be in business. We are representing small one-man, two-man bands right up to sort of limited companies with a turnover of up to £50 million.
Right.
Predominantly, many of our members employ less than 50, that's 50 members of staff. We have 200,000 members in the United Kingdom, so we are larger than the Chambers, Forum for Private Business, Institute of Directors and the CBI put together. We're larger than the British Army. We're larger than any political party that I know of currently. And we have 8,000 members in Devon, spread over 10 branches, which are based on our district and borough councils, our 2 unitaries of Plymouth and Torbay. That is, if you like, my particular domain, which is running the admin side and dealing with the press and media within Devon.
Now, we last week we had Alison Hernandez in from Torbay Council,
Yep.
and the question I asked her was, what do you think is the biggest barrier to doing business in Torbay? Same question for you. What would you say is the biggest barrier?
Well, I was very impressed with Alison's answer, because it is literally you, the person who is starting the business, and that is probably the biggest barrier, because everybody has preconceptions as to how difficult or perhaps how easy it might be. But if you can get over that first hurdle of actually starting your business, then of course you come into the normal day-to-day problems that many small businessmen and women face, which is, where am I going to run my business from? How am I going to finance my business? Do I need to take on staff? Do I need to advertise? Do I need to market? Do I need an accountant? Do I need a solicitor? There are so many hats. It was very interesting when John Prescott was Deputy Prime Minister. We wrote to him, that's the FSB nationally, and we asked him if he could create a Ministry of Inspection. Because believe it or not, there are over 400 government officers that have power of access to your business premises. Now, just take one business. If they were visited every day, they wouldn't do any work for over a year. And it was a simple request, and he wrote back saying that he thought it was a brilliant idea, but there wasn't a single civil servant in this country who knew the law on everything. And that literally proved our point, that literally, every businessman and woman has to know the law of the land in every aspect, and it is physically impossible. And that is the problem. There's so much red tape in this country, and I would suspect that probably every business in this country is breaking a law. Now, when you get to a situation like that, that is not a good place to be. And because members of Parliament pass so many acts, so many statutes affecting business without actually realising the impact on them, this is the biggest problem. And it's finding out all these things technically before you start.
Is that because people are now choosing politics as a career as opposed to having, traditionally, historically, people would have been successful in business and then moved into the world of politics, whereas you get much younger politicians now going straight into it?
Well, that's not necessarily the case. We've always suffered in this country from a very small percentage of MPs who actually have worked in business. And that's one of the things that the FSB has tried to correct by having an MP day. Effectively, businesses across the country take on an MP for the day. They get them to complete a VAT return or to run a payroll or various other bits of government information. And they are absolutely horrified at the amount of compliance that the businesses have to cope with. And the average business now, today, is probably spending the best part of £5,500 on providing information for the government. And they don't pay a penny.
Sure, I increased, 12 months ago with the real-time reporting for payroll.
Correct.
So, I'd love to see some MPs' faces sat down face to some of that. Really would.
Well, yeah. My day job is an accountant, so I'm quite au fait with RTI, and it has taken a bit of time to bed down. But even now, 2 years down the road, we are still getting something like 3 million incorrect tax codes, and this is on a system which is supposed to sort all this out.
Great. So, when you go back, like last week, there was the autumn statement from the Chancellor. Some changes potentially for rates, looking at reassessing of business rates right across the UK. That's going to take a fair bit of time to crack on with, isn't it?
Well, that's an interesting one, and you're quite right. I mean, I was out on Saturday with two MPs. I was in Oakhampton with Mel Stride, and I was with Geoffrey Cox in Tavistock. And according to them, it is Conservative Party plans to abolish business rates and to replace it with something else. Now, the FSB have long fought for the abolition of business rates. We feel it is a completely unfair tax because it is not based on the ability to pay. It's based purely on the rents that you pay or the property value that you are in. So, for example, you could have two identical properties side by side. One contains a jeweller turning £5 million a year, and you can have a fish and chip shop turning over $50,000 a year. Respectively, the business rates are identical for each company.
And also, of course, if a business is trading from an industrial unit, which is a private road, they don't necessarily get all the services in terms of street lighting, sort of maintenance of the roads and things like that.
Correct.
And you're then left at a huge disadvantage.
Yes. But disproportionately, if you look at the rates, business rates that supermarkets pay, they're rated on the first 150 square feet of their frontage.
Oh, right.
Doesn't matter how many floors they go up, it doesn't matter how many miles they go back, and they're not rated on their car parks. Now, as a percentage of business rates, a supermarket would pay less than, well, considerably less than 1%. It's in the 0.00001 type of percentage. The typical high street retailer, business rates would probably be somewhere between 8 and 14% of turnover. That is a hell of a slice of money. And you've got rents on top of that, and then you've got employment.
And then you've got all the insurances and all of the other things which you've got to have. And the amount that you need to turn over as a small business before you even start thinking about drawing a salary yourself is just an incredible amount of money.
Correct.
And it doesn't seem, there's no sign of it sort of levelling out or coming down, which is, of course, what everybody wants.
Well, what happens, of course, is that the rate is a large bubble. The business rate money effectively is a large bubble, and it goes round and round. And of course, what happened in 2008, which was when we had the last valuation, which was completed 3 months before the recession started, we had the highest business property prices in the southwest that we ever had.
Right.
Which effectively have now left us with the highest business rates, this area. And I mean the southwest, so we're talking about from Bristol, Swindon, right the way down to Land's End. I mean, we had business rates doubling in places like Totnes and Dartmouth. I mean, going up from something like 2,000 to 4,000. And it just physically caused so much problems. And we've had businesses, of course, move out because they just can't afford the business rates. We still have, in this region, businesses paying more in business rates than they are in rents. And that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. That is just absolutely insane. So, I mean, it's a misconception, is it? Some people think that the business rates go to the local council like in the old days rates on your house or council tax. But it doesn't work like that, does it? It goes into the central government pot.
Well, technically, yes. I mean, for example, take my own home patch, which is South Hams. They will collect the business rates in South Hams. They will keep 19% as a commission. The remaining money goes to Devon County Council, who then declare what they've had to the government, and the government remove that amount from the rate support grant. So effectively, they'll top it up, but they will keep what they've had in business rates.
Right, okay.
But now the government are proposing that district councils keep their business rates. The problem with the rural areas, of course, is that there are very few businesses. And it looks as though the money that district and borough councils are going to get in Devon is going to go down even more.
But there are naturally going to be areas. I mean, Teignbridge, there's a little bit more business in Teignbridge, but it's residential. It's a dormitory, really, for Exeter, isn't it? Torbay has got a lot more of the retail and tourist kind of industries. The South Amseys are going to be predominantly residential and very thinly spread too in terms of business.
You mentioned Torbay, and obviously this is TorbayHour, so it would be quite appropriate to look at Torbay. Torbay is a slightly different case because, as Alison alluded to last week, Torbay is a unitary, and they, in addition to what the normal district and borough councils do, they also assume the role of what Devon County Council does. So there are a lot more added on requirements for a unitary than there are for a district council, because if the district doesn't do it, the county council does it. But Alison said last week that she would be looking to business rates to pay for all that. But the fact of the matter is that business rates generate a certain amount of income, but certainly not enough to provide the sort of services, children's services, education services and things like that. And the only way, if you're going to look at it that particular perspective, then effectively you're going to be driving businesses out of Torbay completely.
So how do we go about attracting businesses in?
Well, you have a very good development agency. The Torbay Development Agency is spending a considerable amount of money on redeveloping certain areas of Torbay. The South Devon Link Road, which we've only been waiting for
30 years.
I was going to say a little bit longer than that, since the 50s, I think, but it's considerably longer. Goes to prove that if you lobby long and hard enough, eventually you get what you wish for. But that is a major improvement, and that is going to provide access to Torbay, and businesses will start to come and invest in the area. We've got a very high-tech industry in Torbay, along with a very good tourist product. So I don't see any problems as far as Torbay is concerned, as far as IT and tourism are concerned. What concerns me most, I think, if I was to be honest, is the high street. We do not have the size of properties that would attract major companies. Now, I'm not saying for a minute that I want to see the high streets of Torbay littered with, multinational names and this, that and the other. There's got to be some quirky stuff, rather like Dartmouth, rather like Totnes, rather like many of the other market towns. You've got to have an individuality about you. But the problem is the size of the shops. And that is not going to attract, unfortunately, the sort of businesses that we need to support. And this is something I believe that the Torbay Development Agency are looking at, with a view to perhaps encouraging some companies down, providing they can do certain things to some of the properties. So, we need to watch this space. But more importantly, I think Torbay Unitary have been critical, and I think quite justly, in some cases, about the fact that businesses are not shouting loud enough at some of the things that are actually happening in the Bay. And we're all very good at shouting when things are not going our way, but we're not very good at actually applauding the council when they get things right. And this is something I think that businesses need to think in terms of. We need to encourage the council when they do things right, so hand out some bouquets and things like that, and perhaps give them the odd kick now and again when things aren't going the way they should be.
Isn't giving them the pat on the back actually just re-electing them?
No, I don't know, because I'm not into the politics of it. Whoever gets into power gets into power. That's up to all the residents of Torbay, which of course includes many businessmen and women. But nonetheless, there has to be a concerted effort to ensure that business survives. And that is the thing that creates the sort of wealth that the politicians then want to spend. If businesses aren't making profits, there's no money to invest. And this is something that people tend to lose sight of. It's the profits of businesses, the council tax, etc., etc. But if council tax isn't paid because people aren't getting wages and this, that and the other, you don't have any money to spend on public services.
Absolutely right. Right, it's time for one of these.
The 140-second pitch. Sponsored by Torbay Discount Card. Torbay's community discount card.
Okay, it's time for the first of our 140-second pitches. The idea is we've taken the 140 characters rule from Twitter, we've turned it into seconds, and you've got a chance to pitch your business. The first one tonight is the Pierpoint Restaurant, and your 140 seconds starts now.
Hello, I am Kelly, the General Manager of Pierpoint Restaurant and Bar, located on Torquay Seafront Promenade by the water's edge, where enticing menus are prepared and drinks shaken or stirred. Pierpoint is now in our 9th year of business, where we continually strive to maintain our high levels of service, along with serving fresh local produce. Pierpoint is encased by ceiling-to-floor glass, enabling you to take in the amazing postcard views of the bay. Relaxed informal dining or casual drinks, the ideal environment to celebrate with family and friends. Excellent service, delicious local food, and a great selection of drinks. What more are you looking for? We are in the middle of a busy Christmas season, but still have availability for the following. This Wednesday, our comedy club features 3 top comedians from the national circuit. Check out our Facebook for more details. Those quoting TorbayHour can get these tickets for the reduced price of only £5. Every Thursday evening and Sunday lunchtime features live music as local as the food. Sunday the 21st of December is full of festive fun, so put on your best Christmas jumper and join us down by the waterside for live music, West Country roasts, a very special a cappella choir performance with mulled wine and mince pies, and Adam Isaac from BBC One The Voice hosting our candlelit acoustics evening. Spaces are limited, so book your table quick. Calling all local businesses, Pierpoint hosts a networking business breakfast in conjunction with Quick Store on the last Friday of every month. The aim of the network is to bring local businesses together to develop strong relationships. Begin your day with a hearty breakfast, plentiful coffee, a stunning view, great service and motivational speakers. Due to a busy festive season, however, the next meeting is on Wednesday the 17th of December, and we are delighted to have Carolyn Clusterson, Chief Executive Officer of the Torbay English Riviera Tourism Company, to speak about the development of the new Torbay Retail and Torbay Business Improvement District bid. As it's Christmas, all attending will receive a goodie bag to include a voucher for Pierpoint and become one of our VIP Business Loyalty Lord holders. Please contact us, TorbayHour or Quick Store via Twitter, and please don't miss this month's meeting. Please check out our social media pages, Pierpoint TQY, and website peer-point.co.uk for up-to-date information and offers. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy, prosperous New Year. With love from me, Kelly, and all our team at Pierpoint, we look forward to welcoming you soon.
Well done, Kelly. Like it. We'll be down there for breakfast very, very soon. It's just after 8:30. It's the TorbayHour radio show. Hi, it's Rick here. Martin is in the studio as well. Martin, what's going on the hour tonight?
Right, so, Kelly was on earlier, so I won't worry about mentioning her again. That's great. 13_Loopy, they're at Artisan Gallery all month, so if you're into your art, go check her out.
Okay.
Another new account, Politics Torbay. They're on to promote political discussion. It's something we try and stay away from in TorbayHour. So
yeah.
It's great that there's an account out there that's going to do it.
Maybe we should start a Torbay politics show as well. That would be interesting.
Well, there you go. You love this, don't you?
Well, I'm not saying I'm the person to chair that one.
Exactly. Macmillan Devon, they've been on. They've got 2 South Devon golf clubs supporting Macmillan. They're looking for 2 more to make it 4.
Right, you had to think about that basic maths.
No. 4.
Oh, wait, right, golf. Right,
golf.
Sorry.
2 golf clubs, 4. Wake up, Rick.
Yeah,
it's been a long day for you, mate. I know.
Yeah.
Splashdown QW, they've been on. You can buy gift tickets for the Splashdowns. So that's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You can go there all year.
Well, probably not during the coldest bits of the winter months.
Well, probably not. But
in the summer, you can go there all summer.
It's quick down the slides when it's icy.
Have we got any music requests?
Yeah, so we've had a request for the Simmertones.
Which is a strange coincidence, because standing by are the Simmertones.
Almost like it's planned, this show.
Yeah, this song has been a big sensation this year. It's a collaboration between the Simmertones and the one and only Doris Day. Perhaps. TorbayHour radio show with the Simmertones, perhaps, just after 25 to 9. A rich seam of talent, bands, singers, whatever. Are many of them represented by the Federation of Small Businesses, David?
Very good question. And it's one I'm not too sure of the answer
I know I kind of put you on the spot there. I have to say, I didn't prepare you for that one.
No, not at all. No, it would be interesting. I will endeavour to find out if we have some musicians. I know certainly we have some composers, but whether we actually, I guess composers are musicians because they obviously write songs and play them. But to what sort of extent, I don't know.
Now, we touched on your concerns about shop physical unit size in Torquay. Is that the same for Paignton and Preston and Brixham as well, or mainly Torquay?
I think it's predominantly in the Torbay or Torquay area. Paignton, I think there may well be one or two problems. I think Brixham is slightly different. Brixham is rather like some of the market towns that we have in Devon, and they have some very nice shops and some. It sells Brixham, whereas Torquay itself, I think, has got slightly lost. And I know efforts are being made to try and revitalise the town centre, but it needs to be developed in such a way that it actually brings in the sort of people that the high street desperately needs. So
is that a case of attracting? I mean, there's always that thing, isn't there, that if you get a John Lewis or a Marks and Spencer's or something like that, then everybody else then all flocks to that. It kind of gravitates to it. Is it a case of attracting a John Lewis type store to the centre of Torquay?
I think it is to a certain extent. I think you've got to have a big name. It's like football teams, isn't it? If you've got a big striker, it's amazing how many people suddenly want to play for that football team or rugby team or cricket team or whatever. It's people like to be associated with success. So, I'm quite sure that the Torbay Development Agency are looking at some targeted businesses which they would like to attract to Torquay, and that will develop in the future. But it's something obviously that is not going to be, won't happen until such time as we get the road link, and that of course is being done at this as we speak.
Isn't the flip side of that though the criticism which is always levelled at places like Exeter and Plymouth to a certain degree, where you just create clone high streets that have just got the same chains? Wherever you go, you're just going to find the same coffee shops, the same brands, all over the place. And whilst I accept that they're all drawing people into the high street, they're all bringing people into the towns, which then supports the restaurants and everything else. You could be, if you got parachuted into Exeter, you could be in any sort of mid-sized city, really.
I think that's fair comment, and you could level that experience at pretty much every major town and city we have in this country. I think what sets the market towns apart is their sort of quirkiness. I mean, we all know the fight to prevent Costa going into Totnes. I mean, people were almost laying down in front of the machine guns at one point. And this is how literally they felt about their town. And there are some very successful towns that don't have these sort of high street names and work sufficiently well.
But are we then saying that it's actually about community, the broader than just the business community? It's the community as a whole, because Totnes is a unique community of like-minded people. And Dartmouth to a similar degree, and Brixham certainly, the business community there is very, very strong. We know that from the TorbayHour. Is that something which Torquay is lacking?
Well, I think what you have to look at the bigger picture. We have a lot of people who come down to Torquay. You've got a magnificent harbour, sailing centre, so you're attracting the sort of people who are used to those types of shops in other places. So there has to be a certain amount of that type of shops. Conferences. Again, talking to Gordon Oliver a couple of weeks ago, you've got a large international weather conference coming to Torquay, I think, next year. The FSB ourselves have actually put Torquay forward for our national conference in 2017, and that will generate something like, if we get it, I'm not sure whether we will, we're one of 3 venues, one in Wales and one in Northern Ireland, but if we are fortunate enough to get it, that is going to generate somewhere between £5 and £6 million turnover over a 3-4 day period, because we will get the top politicians coming down, rather like they do to the CBI and the IOD. They will be coming down to address small businesses. So these are the types of things that are going on in the Torbay area, and you need those type of bigger type of shops as well as the quirky ones, which will feed off that.
So how do you, and is that a function of the council, or is that just something which happens naturally where you create that balance? Because there will become a tipping point where all of a sudden the extra money that you attract in from people coming down, spending large amounts of money and things like that, suddenly goes back out again because it's going to companies which are of a certain size that they're not necessarily based here.
Well, that, of course, again is true. I mean, one of the highlights of Small Business Saturday was, of course, every pound spent in your local high street goes round the local economy 4 times. But with all due respect, if you go to Waitrose or Sainsbury's or Tesco's or what have you, that money goes up out of the county. So from that point of view, yes, but it's not a question of having all local shops and what have you. You need some of the big names to attract people in, and it's the footfall. Ironically, when John Lewis first came to Exeter, we had a lot of complaints from our members in Exeter saying, oh gosh, we're going to lose loads of business because they're going to take a lot of business away from. What they forgot to take into account was over 80,000 people that they were bringing in to the city centre, and that has spilt out all around the city centre, and I don't hear anybody complaining at the moment.
So it is... I'm trying to think of a name, and not necessarily John Lewis, but if there was someone of that type of business which came to Torquay, there's got to be, bearing in mind the physical size of the site, do you see that as something which would happen in and around the harbour and the sort of centre of Torquay, or is that something which would then naturally be destined towards a Willows type out-of-town development?
Well, I think the problem with out-of-town development, I mean, in the last 10 years, the average Devonian is now travelling something like 400 miles further in the search for food. So out-of-town shopping centres are all very well, but how far out of town are you going to continue to go? Because we've already seen the problems in the towns. Why is it now that Waitrose and Tesco's and Sainsbury's are now bringing in expresses, small shops, retail shops that are coming back into the towns because they've exhausted the out-of-town model? There are so many supermarkets out of town. We need to bring stuff into the centre of town, and I think this is where the new battle, if you like, is going to be taking place.
But there's the big thing is the transport infrastructure, public transport or lack of. And I do a lot of travelling around at stupid times of the days and night, and there's actually there's no way I could use public transport if I needed to. The roads, as soon as you try and, even to travel from Torquay to Totnes at 9 o'clock in the morning, you've got to allow yourself 45 minutes to an hour to get through the traffic. And those kind of infrastructure problems are going to be there if we suddenly put a John Lewis in the middle of Torquay and attracted 80,000 people. It's going to be even worse.
These are things that obviously have to be considered, quite right. And you've got the access, you've got where do they park, all those sorts of things. So, yes, this is all part and parcel, if you like, of planning. Fortunately, I'm not a town planner.
Thankless task, I think, there.
You're on a hiding to nothing in there. But these are the sorts of things that need to be looked at. And you're quite right. I mean, I spent a very interesting day recently with Devon and Cornwall Constabulary Road Policing Unit, because one of the biggest concerns with small businesses, and incidentally 90% of small businesses in Devon use our roads system. And whenever you get a particularly nasty road traffic accident, of course, it is the road shut down completely. and we were trying to find out the sort of problems that the police had, that the various emergency services had, why it took so long to clear the roads. For example, in America, the maximum that you can close a road after a road traffic accident is 2 hours.
Wow.
You have to do everything in 2 hours. Otherwise, all hell's let loose. But of course, over here, we have the European Human Rights Act, and effectively, they have to, the police that is, they have to cover everything, because they're not only protecting those that were involved in the accident, but of course those that died, and particularly the relatives of those that died want to know how, etc., etc., etc. So it is a very difficult situation, exaggerated by the fact that down here we are surrounded by water. We don't have the necessary routes to divert traffic quickly like they do in the Midlands or what have you. Secondly, we don't have the haulage companies with the huge equipment that they have in other parts of the country. To be a Devon and Cornwall accident collection contractor, you've got to have a phenomenal amount of kit. And I mean phenomenal. We are talking millions of pounds worth of equipment. Well, how often are you going to use it? Consequently, there are very few, if any, of these contractors in Devon and Cornwall. If a big Arctic lorry was to spill over on the motorway between Exeter and Taunton, the equipment would have to come down from Bristol.
Which indeed it did 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Now, these particular types of machinery don't travel at 60 miles an hour. It can take anything from 4 hours to get from wherever they are to the scene of the accident, and that's before they actually start to lift the stuff out the way.
And I'd heard some statistic about for every hour that the road or the M5 is closed, it's X million pounds worth of impact on local business.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. And we had 18 closures last summer, majority of which were over on caravans, people just going too fast and caravans flipping over and things like that. I mean, there are some very, very difficult problems which our police force have to deal with. We now have a national air police service, which I didn't realise, but apparently all the helicopters now and the police forces around the country are now part of a national air service.
All right.
So we only have one now covering the whole of Devon and Cornwall. So that is something. So to fly an investigating officer, and we only have 8 in Devon and Cornwall. We have 5 based at Exeter, and there are 3 traffic officers based at Liskeard, so that's covering the whole of Devon and Cornwall. And you could have 8 accidents happening on one day. You've only got to listen to the news and the number of road traffic accidents that happen. And if you're short of a road traffic investigating officer, they just have to wait until one becomes available.
Do you know, I never thought we'd get a discussion from business to blaming it on overturned caravans on the M5, but we've done it.
Welcome to Devon.
It's time for another one of these.
The 140-second pitch. Sponsored by Torbay Discount Card. Torbay's community discount card.
Okay, the 140-second pitch, the second one. My goodness, I'm running late tonight. It's 10 to 9. The Stroke Survivors Association, your time starts now.
As a stroke survivor myself, I've been given this opportunity to make an appeal and to highlight our Stroke Survivors computer group here in Payton Library. And it was through an idea and the great help of the library staff that this group was formed to meet the specific needs of stroke survivors in learning computer skills. Members receive a one-to-one ongoing tuition each week, either to learn basic computer skills or to relearn skills lost through having a stroke. Not only have new skills been achieved since our start, it has also given them that sense of self-esteem, confidence, and a new sense of purpose in their life after stroke. But also it's improved coordination and communication skills among the group. For me, it has answered partly a frustration and a question that I share with what other stroke survivors feel. And that's what happens after the initial treatment, which for most feel that it's good, but nothing afterwards to take us forward other than feeling inadequate. So that's why our future vision is to reach out to all stroke survivors, and this particular group that's going on now, no matter who you are. The aim being to bring about that confidence and that stroke survivors can have a place in their communities. And so this is where my appeal comes to you. We need more volunteers. Anyone who has computer skills can come forward. Our other aim is to see other such groups formed in the Bay. So my appeal is, why not be a part of that vision and come and join us? And we meet in the public library here in Paynton each Thursday between 2 and 4. But you can also find us on our website, torbaystrokesurvivors.jimdo.com, or email us on library1@gmx.co.uk. So I look forward to hearing from you all, and let's raise the awareness of stroke and the difficulties, not only for stroke, but for the carers too. So I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Steve. Marvellous, marvellous. Another 140-second pitch for you for next week. If you want to get in touch, if you want that free advert time, then get in touch during the week to the Torbay Hour. Send a message to the team and we'll get you on next week's show. Martin, what's going on the hour tonight?
It's been a busy hour tonight, actually.
It's frantic.
I thought it'd be getting quiet, but no, it's still busy running up to Christmas. Right, Busy Guru, they've been on. They've got a couple of clients, Warrior Roofing and the Huntsman_in. They're both recruiting at the moment, so if you are looking for work, then get in touch with those guys. AG_sign_print. They've got signs of all different shapes, sizes, shop fronts, vehicle livery, even flags. So if you are looking to redo your branding or something like that, something a bit different. A quick mention for Helen Brenton. She's running our LinkedIn page at the moment, and she's doing a great job keeping the chat going over there a bit more in depth. So if join us on LinkedIn, follow Helen, and get things like that done. That's always good. Torbay Cab, they've been on. They've got all the Bay's cab companies on one site, so it's worth doing nowadays. Christmas coming up and things like that. It's worth having that, following them, and having that website on your phone just in case.
Fantastic. I'm going to squeeze in a bit of this song. This is one of the other requests we've had tonight. We're so running out of time on this one. I'll play a little bit of this. Adam Isaacs, Breathe in Love.
When something wakes you up and shakes you up and keeps you up all night, you must embrace it and chase it and breathe in love. Beautiful inside. Woo, woo, beautiful inside. Breathe in love. Breathe in love. Breathe in love. Breathe in love. The energy is golden, a supernatural high, something like an explosion is going up in the sky. When something wakes you up and shakes you up and keeps you up all night, you must embrace it and chase it and breathe in love. Beautiful inside. Woo, woo, beautiful inside. Breathe in love. Breathe in love. Wider than the ocean, more than just your skin. Simple complication, nothing to lose, but you cannot win. When something wakes you up and shakes you up and keeps you up all night, you must embrace it and chase it
TorbayHour radio show. That's Adam Isaac, Breathe in Love. I can tell you fairly exclusively that Adam is back in the studio working on some new material as well, so we look forward to that. In 2015, it is, where are we? It's, I can't believe it. It's just after 5 to 9. It is the TorbayHour radio show, joined in the studio this week by David Shepherd, who is the regional chairman for the Federation of Small Businesses. And David, if obviously Christmas coming up, what's your wish for the business community of Torbay and South Devon for 2015?
Well, my first wish, of course, is I hope they all have a spectacularly successful Christmas, and I wish them all a very healthy and prosperous new year. We have, of course, got a general election coming up, so there are plenty
small matter of, yeah.
There'll be plenty of politicians out and about listening to our wishes. But we've had one or two in the autumn statement, so those of you who are worried about business rates, we've had a guarantee that the doubling of the business rate exemption will be continued for another year. So if you didn't pay business rates this year, you won't be paying them next year.
Slight electoral thing there. Possibly.
If you also had in receipt of the £1,000 high street allowance, then we have good news. The Chancellor has increased that to £1,500 next year, so that's a nice gift. So that is that. We've also had an FSB wish, which is to effectively abolish employers' national insurance contributions on any apprentice that you take on up to the age of 21, which I hope will do a lot, particularly for South Devon College, who are, I'm delighted to say, being voted the best college of further education in the United Kingdom. So well done them and their fantastic apprentice programme, which I know many small businesses support, but we need more businesses to take on apprentices. So if you're looking for an apprentice, get hold of South Devon Technical College.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Generally, I get the feeling you're actually fairly optimistic about sort of the next 12 months or so.
Well, I've always been a glass half full rather than the glass half empty type of guy, and I've great belief in the British entrepreneur. Yes, we are getting there. Things are improving, albeit somewhat slower than we first thought, but things are difficult out there, but we are outperforming pretty much all the other European countries,
which is great,
which is good,
which is really good. This time next year we're going to have to get you back in. The South Devon Link Road will be open by this time next year. We're going to have to see what an impact that's going to make in 2015.
Indeed.
It's going to be I think a radical change for a lot of people.
Yes,
very, very good. Yeah. David, thank you so much for coming in. Very happy Christmas to you, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Christmas to all at TorbayHour.
Brilliant. Martin, final wrap up. You got 30 seconds to wrap up what's going on the hour tonight.
Right, okay, so actually let's just say join us next week because it's our last one for the year. So It's the Christmas show next week.
That means Christmas cakes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm bringing Sophie in. Sophie's bringing the cakes.
Oh, right. Oh, this is news.
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Sophie of Millie and Me will be joining us, and she will be bringing cake.
Marvellous. Right, look forward to that next week. In the meantime, have a fantastic trading week, whatever you do. Get in touch if you fancy being the account of the week. If you fancy being one of the hundreds, get in touch as well. We look forward to next Monday night, sharp at 8 o'clock for the TorbayHour radio show. Chance to listen again online at the YouTube channel. Just search TorbayHour.
The TorbayHour radio show, brought to you by the Babacom Inn Christmas Party Night.